Welcome back into another episode of Hefe's Cabin. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. First up, we going to get right into the Monday Night Football game. And shout out to JJ McCarthy. He threw two fourth quarter touchdown passes, and he even rushed for a touchdown pass on his way to a 27-24 comeback win on the Chicago Bears in his NFL debut. Shout out JJ, but Caleb Williams, unfortunately for him, he is now 0-3 in his career against the Minnesota Vikings. So, hopefully he can figure it out against them. He will get one more shot later on this year in Minnesota. So hopefully he's able to work some things out with his team and get going in the right direction. But McCarthy, he also ended up throwing a pick six in this game. So he definitely obviously has some things that he needs to work out as well. Even though that fourth quarter comeback was very great to watch, like I said, he has some things that he needs to work out and watch some tape and go back and study that. But he's back in prime time next week. So JJ will be right back in prime time on Sunday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons, who also tried to make their own comeback of their own on Sunday. Unfortunately, it didn't go so well for them. They let Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks come back on them and get a victory. And we saw a miss from Young Wei Ho, which is, in my opinion, it's very rare to see him miss kicks in those type of opportunities. So it'll be very interesting to see JJ and the Falcons in prime time. That'll be a good game to watch for sure. But the Bears, they will have a tougher test next week as they will be playing their divisional opponents in Detroit. So they'll be playing the Detroit Lions, and if you guys watch the Detroit and Packers game, Detroit is seeking their first win of the season as they got dismantled by Green Bay. So Detroit is also coming into this game looking for a win as well. So you know the Bears and Detroit, somebody's gonna have to start 0-2 in that division. We'll see who my money's on when we get into that game. But Jordan Mason, he appears to be leading the pack. He led the backfield against Aaron Jones and carries. And that's something to monitor as the season goes on. We saw Jordan Mason last year on the 49ers. He got traded in the offseason to the Vikings. And, Aaron Jones, for what it's worth, he was the leading back in Minnesota for the majority of last year. And we thought that was going to be the case this year. So as of right now, I know it's just the first game of the season. So like I said, something to monitor as the season progresses. Um, if Jordan Mason takes that lead back role over Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones didn't have too great of a day. Uh, Not even Justin Jefferson. He continues to pretty much get shut down primarily throughout most of the game for the Bears. He did get a touchdown in this game, but he only got four catches for 44 yards, and you know for a 2-3 receiver, that's good numbers. But for somebody like Justin Jefferson, somebody like Jamar Chase, somebody like a CD Lamb, four catches, 44 yards, that's not impressive. Like granted, that TD on the stat line saved him there. But we need more production out of Justin Jefferson. It seems as though the Bears always find a way to get him, off of his game. So he's gonna have to figure something out against them. Because Aaron Jones, I mean, shout out to him, back to him. He did the same thing on three catches. He had three catches for 44 yards as well. So, he Aaron Jones shouldn't be beating you or doing about the same if your name is Justin Jefferson. So that's just one thing. Caleb Williams, though, he led all backs with six carries, 58 yards, and one touchdown on the ground. So Caleb definitely did what he needed to do on the ground. JJ McCarthy also got a touchdown on the ground as well, as I mentioned at the earlier portion of this broadcast. So if you, for whatever reason, decide to parlay a Caleb Williams and a JJ McCarthy anytime rushing touchdown, I'm sure you came up some good money. So shout out to you if that was you. Unfortunately, it was not me, but something to monitor as well. A lot of rushing touchdowns this first week, so we got a lot of running quarterbacks. Definitely something to look forward to and something to monitor as far as prop bets throughout the year. Shout out Romeo Oduz. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name too bad. He hauled in 6 catches, but he only got 37 yards. He managed to get Caleb Williams' only passing touchdown. Moore led all receivers with 3 catches and 68 yards, but he did not, unfortunately, get that end zone. But 6 catches, 37 yards back to Rome. It's okay production, but for the yardage, we need more yak yards. He definitely needs to get more yak yards. 37 yards off 6 catches is not that great in my opinion, but he did get Caleb Williams only touchdown, so shout out to him for that. And we'll see where these next two teams go next week. I'll get into them later on throughout the season. But you know, we got a big game coming up on Thursday Night Football as the Washington Commanders, who won their first game, so they're 1-0, and as did the Green Bay Packers. As I mentioned, they beat the Detroit Lions earlier in this broadcast. They are 1-0 as well. The Packers right now are favored in this matchup, 3.5 points, and the over and under is at 48.5 points. That's a lot of points. I'm not sure if that many points will be scored in this matchup, as both teams have a pretty good defense. But what I will say is the Green Bay Packers 3.5. That's a very interesting spread, and it tells me a lot. It tells me that the the books don't believe that the Commanders are good enough to lose this game by a field goal, but they also don't believe the Packers are good enough to beat the Commanders by more than 7 points. So or by because then it would be -6.5. So it tells a lot about how they feel about the Commanders right now, and for Commanders fans, that should be a good thing for you guys. Um, as far as the spread, I personally might think the Commanders could cover that spread, but I don't know. The way Green Bay played defense against Detroit is alarming. However, it is a divisional game, so as much as it is alarming, it also is a little not so alarming because, like I said, it's a divisional game. So we need to see what they do against higher opponents like the Commanders. Unfortunately, there's a limited rest period here, not enough time to prepare. The good thing for the Packers is they played their game last week at home. The Commanders have to travel into this meeting, so it's a little unfortunate for the Commanders, but it's football and you got to do what you got to do. This is the first ever meeting between Jayden Daniels and Jordan Love. And lucky for us, we get it in prime time. So there's no other game that's going to be on. It's just going to be Jayden Daniels and Jordan Love on our screen. So I love that. That is definitely great for us. Last week, the Commanders dismantled the Giants 21-6. Rookie running back Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt, he made a name for himself for sure. I know a lot of people were stuck and upset about the Brian Robinson trade for that 6th round pick, but I was telling one of my boys, man, I think that's a great trade. I think the Commanders did excellent with that. I know it's hard to get gems in the sixth, seventh, fifth, sixth, seventh, fourth, third, whatever round in the later rounds in the draft, but Brian Robinson wanted a contract. He wanted a big contract, and I believe, in my opinion and a lot of people's opinions, he wasn't worth that money. So they did the right thing, in my opinion, trading that guy. They have a great asset, as I was getting into, in this guy, Ja'Cory. He had 10 carries for 82 yards and his first rushing touchdown of his NFL career. And Jayden, he didn't disappoint either, as he threw for 233 yards and 1 touchdown. He also rushed for 11 times with 68 yards. So that offense was clicking on all cylinders. Debo Samuels even rushed for his own touchdown as well. Got his first touchdown as a Commander. But can they do the same thing against the Packers? I don't know. But what I will say is the Commanders' defense gave up the fifth fewest yards with 231, and they also had 2 sacks. However, their opponents, though, they don't, like I said, they don't have to travel anywhere. They beat the Lions last week at home 27-13. Jordan Love threw 2 touchdowns. He only had 188 yards passing. However, in Josh Jacobs, he carried the ball for 19 times for 66 yards. He had 1 touchdown as well. But their offense, you know, it won't be there. It won't be much to worry about. because or there I'm sorry, the offense will be there will be a lot to worry about because the Commanders have a lot better defense as well. Like I said, they gave up the fifth fewest yards. I know they just played the Giants, so it's not very much to talk about. But the Packers, they acquired Micah Parsons right before the season kicked off, who got his first sack last week as a Packer, and he'll be looking to add to that total on Thursday against Jayden Daniels. The Packers defense is right behind the Commanders. Last week they only gave up 246 yards to the Lions. However, they doubled the amount of sacks that the Commanders got with four total sacks last week. So who will outduel who? Can the Commanders and Jayden Daniels outduel and stop Jordan Love and Micah Parsons? We'll have to tune in and find out. As I said before, that spread is very interesting. I'm gonna probably go with the Commanders with the plus 3.5. Because anything can happen in this game. I believe this could be a field goal game. The Commanders are a good team, and they will fight. My best bets in this game is two receiving bets this week. Austin Eckler again over that 20.5. I love that one. I also love Jaden Reed over 40.5 receiving yards for the Packers. I believe both of those bets could come in and do justice. But we'll see what happens. And as for football, I'll get more into that later on in this week. I'm gonna try and drop 3 episodes a week, every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll see how this goes. And as the NBA season approaches us as well, maybe I'll hit you guys with some more episodes. But we'll see as these days and months go on. Basketball is only, about a month away, so we'll definitely be getting into that soon. Hopefully I'll have some guests on here and we'll figure out what's going to happen. But this is the end for the football portion of this broadcast. I'm going to be getting into some WWE stuff. So, thanks everybody that came for the football stuff. And I appreciate everybody. Anybody who's just now tuning in right now at for just WWE and scrolled all the way down to the end for this, welcome on in. And I appreciate you guys for stopping in and welcome to the cabin. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below. And let's go ahead and get right into our Raw review. Why don't we? Raw, let's see. Raw kicked off with the Usos. We had Braun and Bronson, who also ended up coming out during this segment as well. And we got challenged for a WrestlePalooza match. So it's official. We'll have the Usos and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed against each other, which is definitely going to be one hell of a match for sure. But there's a fifth man in here that's making some noise. LA Knight came out right towards the end of this. He attacked both Browns from behind, and this led to them getting in the ring. Jey Uso accidentally got hit by Bronson when LA Knight moved out of the way, and Jey Uso did not take very kindly to that. And we'll get into what happened towards the end of the show in that main event. But we after this segment, we got AJ Styles and El Grande Americano in a match. This was a pretty good match that we got from AJ Styles. They talked about how El Grande was undefeated on the main roster so far. So I kind of thought maybe they would find a way for AJ to lose this match. I was really hoping they didn't. And I'm glad they didn't. In the end, AJ did end up winning this match. But of course, not before some outside interference from another second El Grande Americano. However, Dragon Lee came out and helped AJ Styles and to even the odds. So that was good to see, and we'll see what comes next from AJ and Dragon Lee as well. After that, we got Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez. It was a great match that Raquel ended up winning in this match. Lyra seems to be in this weird transition type feud with Raquel and Roxanne, which I personally believe is going to lead to Bayley coming back and having her side and helping her, and maybe even forming a tag team and possibly going up against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair somewhere down the line. But I can see Bayley coming back and Lyra and Bayley being a team. Um, After the Lyra match, we did get AJ Lee. AJ Lee returned to the WWE after a decade-long hiatus. I, for one, as a fan, am very much excited to see where this leads. She apparently has signed a multi-year deal in WWE, so this is not a one-off match that she's going to be having with her husband and Becky and Seth. This is going to be foreseeable future type stuff. So I, for one, as a fan, am excited and can't wait to see what's for the future. Can't wait to see what title she goes after. Can't wait to see what barriers she breaks, and I can't wait to see what she gets into just as a whole. But eight, like I said, AJ came out. She came out with Becky Lynch's IC title around her waist. Cuts her promo. Becky ends up coming out. Becky brings out Seth Rollins. Seth tries to get into the ring to get that Intercontinental title back. However, CM Punk, of course, comes down, tries to hit Seth with the GTS, but Seth gets out of the way. And they ended up accepting the mixed tag team matchup for WrestlePalooza. So it is official. We are going to get Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus CM Punk and AJ Lee at WrestlePalooza Saturday, September 20th. So definitely, guys, lock in for that. That is going to be one hell of a match card and one hell of a pay-per-view. I mean, this pay-per-view is honestly getting stacked by the second. However, after they finally officially accepted the match, AJ Lee would go ahead and throw the Intercontinental Championship back over to Becky Lynch, and this segment was pretty much over. We got a video package after this from Bailey. After that, we got a match from Penta versus Rusev. A little backstory: there was a backstage segment earlier in the show where Penta was trying to talk to Adam Pearce. Rusev got in the way, and leads to a match. The New Day and Grayson Waller ended up coming out to distract Penta during this matchup. I wouldn't say this test necessarily led to Rusev winning because, in my opinion, I believe WWE was gonna have Rusev win this match anyways. But Rusev did win this matchup after that. After all that happened, of course. Our next matchup we got was Nikki Bella versus Asuka. This was a great matchup in which Asuka ends up winning. There was a backstage segment later on in the night after this matchup between Nikki Bella, Asuka. Rhea Ripley got involved as well. So I'm sure we'll possibly get a tag team matchup with the Kabuki Warriors, Rhea and Nikki Bella at some point down the line. After this, we did get right into our main event, which was LA Knight versus Bronson Reed. This was a great matchup. Great main event for sure. Reed ended up winning this matchup, and of course, after the matchup, none other than Braun Breaker gets in that ring and attacks LA Knight. Jimmy Uso comes down to make the save. However, he gets pretty much beat up by both Braun and Bronson. Jey Uso comes down for the save. Um, he gets the upper hand for a little while, but unfortunately, the numbers gain. They get both the Usos set up for a tsunami by Bronson Reed, but LA Knight gets back in with the chair. LA gets back into the ring after both Bronze start to head up back up towards the entrance ramp. He goes over to Jay in the corner and asks if everything's good now. Then he goes to help Jimmy up, and then as he turns, Jey Uso hits him with the spear. So we may be getting a character change in Jey Uso, maybe a little bit of a heelish turn or something. It's going to be very interesting to see what's next with Jey Uso and what they have going on. But that spear to see was a little interesting. I'm not sure what to make of it, and we'll definitely have to see what's next and what goes on after that. But let's go ahead and get into Friday Night SmackDown. We got a few things confirmed for this Friday. We got Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton is kind of in this purgatory right now where we don't really know what's next for Randy, what's going on with Randy, but we know one thing, or we know a few things about Randy. Randy's one hell of a worker. He can cut one hell of a promo, and he's definitely one of the greatest of all times in WWE for sure. So I'm curious to see what they have next for Randy Orton. But as for right now, they have him inserted into this little feud with Drew McIntyre. And that's mainly because if nobody knows, Cody Rhodes is out shooting a movie right now. He is expected to be back at WrestlePalooza Saturday, September 20th, as per Triple H. So we'll see if that match will be made official between him and Drew McIntyre for the championship. But as of right now, for a filler, we have Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. This match is definitely going to be one hell of a match for sure, and I am positive that Drew McIntyre will end up winning this matchup to further along his stake and claim to be world champion and beat Cody Rhodes. Speaking of being world champion, we will have a nice, huge world championship match between two lovely women in Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill on Friday. Um, Tiffany Stratton is undefeated this year. It's obviously been hard to pin her and hard to make her lose. So it's going to be very interesting to see. when and if she does lose. I believe that Jade Cargill is due at any moment to be our champion. And it's just a matter of when and if she's ready. Um, I believe that Jade is somewhat there. Is she 100% ready? I'm not sure. That's something we're gonna just have to hope and pray that she is. But Tiffany Stratton, for what it's worth, she puts on one hell of a show every time she's in that ring. She cuts good promos, and as of right now, I don't mind her being the champion, but I definitely love to see Jade as champion as well at some point too. Like I said, it's just a matter of when and when she's ready. So we'll see what happens. This could be the time that Jade gets the championship, or this could possibly be a time where somebody like Nia Jax comes down to that ring and destroys both women, and there is no championship winner match. There's no winner of this championship match, and we'll see what happens next. But we also have Brock Lesnar confirmed to appear on Friday Night SmackDown last week. He came out. He not only F5 John Cena twice, but he got some collateral damage from Sami Zayn getting an F5, giving an F5 to him as well. So Brock Lesnar, he's set to appear live on Friday Night SmackDown. We know that was John Cena's last Friday night SmackDown. So in my opinion, I see Sami Zayn coming out and confronting Brock Lesnar and possibly leading to something eventually down the line. But we'll see what Brock Lesnar has to say, and we'll see if Sami Zayn comes out. But that's all that I have right now confirmed for Friday Night SmackDown. But I'm curious to see what's next for Julia and Michin. Last week we had that championship matchup in which Michin got attacked afterwards, of course. So I feel like she'll get a chance again to get that championship claim, and we'll see when. Also, last week we had Aleister Black versus Damian Priest in one-on-one action. Aleister Black attacked Damian Priest prior to the matchup, and he, of course, ended up winning the matchup as well. I'm sure Damian Priest is going to be looking for his revenge, and he's possibly going to be. I could possibly see a backstage brawl between these guys and them getting a match at WrestlePalooza or somewhere down the line. But they will definitely be having a match for sure to end this feud eventually. And then also right after SmackDown this weekend, we have a WWE Worlds Collide pay-per-view. I'm not gonna really get too much into this because I don't really know too much about the other wrestlers. I watch them obviously in these new YouTube segments, but I don't really know too much about it. But what I will say is we're gonna have a huge AAA Championship matchup with Dominic Mysterio, which I believe people should watch. The New Day are in the World AAA World Tag Team matchup. Natalia's going to be in action. Finn and Roxanne are in action. You also have Dragon Lee, JD McDonough. That's going to be in action. Octagon Jr., NWO. We're going to have a lot of guys that are going to be in action. It's definitely going to be one hell of a match card for sure. If you guys haven't checked out a Worlds Collide pay-per-view as of yet, I highly suggest you guys do it. It's right after SmackDown, so literally you watch SmackDown and you got two more maybe plus hours of wrestling. I know it's going to be a lot of wrestling, but hell, who doesn't love wrestling? And like I said, it's going to be one hell of a show. I believe they're going to be streaming this on YouTube, so just be on the lookout for that, and we'll see what's next. I'll hit you guys with another episode for the Sunday night football games, the Friday night SmackDown review episode as well on Saturday. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below and tap into that. And until next time, this is Hefe's Cabin, and I'll see y'all then.